It's Alexandra Levine coming to you live with Alexandra 360. The polls are now officially closed in Minnesota. We are looking closely at the open primary with Congresswoman Ilhan Omar, the leader of the squad out in Minnesota. We will be coming to you live with updates of that primary. Hopefully she will be primary out. She will be sent back home to Somalia where she belongs, because as we all know, she is Somalia first. That is Somalia first. But last night we had breaking. President Trump and Elon Musk blew up Twitter last night with Twitter Spaces. It took about 35 to 40 minutes for people to get on last night. There was speculation that there was hackers, that it was very hard for people to get in. But my question to my viewers is, did you get in? Because it was 3 hours of a wonderful interview between Elon Musk and President Trump. It was amazing. They covered everything from President Trump's attempted assassination to technology to the presidential election to the Second Amendment to everything. And I hope that everybody goes on Twitter and goes and listens to that 3-hour interview. It was just amazing how everything was just covered. And of course, after that attempted assassination, Elon Musk personally endorsed President Trump. And Elon Musk said, we need President Trump right now more than ever. And they talked about Space Force and SpaceX. And it was a very riveting and very powerful interview with a lot of information. And of course, a wonderful new ad came out by President Trump's campaign team. We're going to show it to you right now. Take it away, Patrick.
Trump has left the building. Over.
We can now project the winner of the presidential race. Donald Trump wins the presidency.
What started off as unlikely, impossible, is now reality.
I will fight for you with every breath in my body, and I will never, ever let you down.
We have a president who actually fulfilled the promises he made during the campaign, securing the border to foreign policy.
He now has a record as president that's pretty damn impressive.
Breaking news out of Palm
Beach,
Florida.
The FBI has executed an unprecedented search warrant at President Donald Trump's Mar-a-Lago estate.
The former president has both sides of the political aisle up in arms.
It is a dangerous and unstable moment in American history.
The Justice Department has just indicted former President Donald Trump.
For 7 years, they hated him, they targeted him, they hunted him.
This is the epitome of the abuse of the prosecutorial power to preempt political decisions.
I never thought anything like this could happen in America. The only crime that I have committed is to fearlessly defend our nation from those who seek to destroy it. The more that a broken system tells you that you're wrong, the more certain you should be that you must keep pushing ahead. They want to take away my freedom because I will never let them take away your freedom. They want to silence me because I will never let them silence you. They're not coming after me, they're coming after you, and I just happen to be standing in their way, and I will never be moving. On November 5th, 2024, justice will be done. We will take back our country, and we will make America great again. America will always rise to every challenge and overcome every danger.
Donald Trump seems to always get stronger when challenged. These types of things, I think, give him strength.
When I'm reelected, I will totally obliterate the deep state. As long as we have pride in our beliefs, courage in our convictions, and faith in our God, then we will not fail.
Now, I would say this is probably one of the most powerful campaign ads that I've seen come out of the President Trump Vance campaign team. This is just so powerful because this man has been throwing the kitchen sink at him. And as a result, President Donald J. Trump is set to sue the DOJ for $100 million over the Mar-a-Lago document raid, which he focused on in this campaign ad. And we all saw this. This was political persecution. President Trump and his attorney is accusing Attorney General Merrick Garland and FBI Director Christopher Wray of having engaged in, quote, malicious political prosecution aimed at affecting an electoral outcome to prevent President Trump from being reelected. And we actually have the story on that right now. Patrick, please play the clip.
Over the 2022 Mar-a-Lago raid, which resulted in the federal case involving his classified documents. Fox Business's Lydia Hu is here with more. Lydia.
Good morning there, Cheryl. Former President Donald Trump is putting the government on notice. He plans to sue them for $100 million over the Mar-a-Lago raid from 2 years ago and the prosecution of the documents case that followed. Now, in this notice that he filed with the government just last week, Trump accuses the Department of Justice and the FBI of invasion of privacy, malicious prosecution, and abuse of process. Trump's lawyers talked to Fox Business exclusively, saying the government's goal was to keep Trump from running for office again.
Isn't this insane? And actually, they said in the write-out that if President Trump was there and if he would have stepped in, they actually said that Biden had the order to shoot to kill. This is disgusting. This is election interference at such a high level, and nobody's really talking about it. And I am so proud of President Trump and his legal team for suing the DOJ over this. I mean, what Merrick Garland is doing with Christopher Wray is the FBI director, is just discussing on such high levels. And it's not only the DOJ and the FBI, it's the CIA, it's the ODNI. And the former DNI director, John Radcliffe, he's talked about this. Rick Grinnell, he was the acting director. He's talked about this as well. How this is just above and beyond what people will do, because they know that they can't win unless they try all these horrible steps to try to get into office, because they know in the back of their mind this is the only way to get into office, because they can't do it fairly, because they know if they do it fairly, they know that they will lose. But they're like, well, if we put in all these stops to try to hurt President Trump, let's attempt an assassination on his life, that's the only way that we're going to get in, because they know that if the election was held today, if it was held today fairly, President Donald J. Trump would be in office today. And I always say, put this man in office tonight, because we can't keep going as Americans the way that we're going in, the way that the country is being held today, because the country is going to hell with what's going in today. I mean, we have, supposedly Joe Biden as the president, even though we know he's not the president. And we have Kamala, who's supposedly taking over for him right now, but she's not doing her job at all. And she's campaigning and she's horrible. And the guy that she's picked, Mr. Waltz, I mean, he has a horrible record. He's actually the one that supported and endorsed Congresswoman Ilhan Omar, who's up for re-election in her primary right now. And we all know what he did. I mean, he destroyed he watched his entire state of Minnesota burn to the ground during the George Floyd riots. He signed an executive order for gender reaffirming surgery. So if a boy wants to become a girl, they can without parental consent. They call him Tampon Tim. That is his nickname because he put tampons in the boys' bathroom. I mean, this guy is more far left than even Bernie Sanders. I mean, and Bernie Sanders endorsed him, and so did AOC. I mean, this guy is so radical. It is just insane. And again, I remind the Jewish community again that Governor Josh Shapiro from Pennsylvania, he was the top choice. But one of the reasons that Kamala Harris didn't pick him was because he was Jewish and because he was very pro-Israel. Ilhan Omar, we know she's very anti-Israel. Tim Waltz, by endorsing Ilhan Omar, by standing by the squad, he's very anti-Israel. Kamala Harris is very anti-Israel. We will see this. And we have also seen that AIPAC, which they call themselves nonpartisan, but they do support a lot of left-leaning Democrats. They have been very successful in primarying out a lot of these squad members, including Cori Bush and Jamal Bowman. Unfortunately, sources have said that they did not put a lot of money into getting rid of Ilhan Omar into this primary. I'm hoping that there were some AIPAC donors that have put their money into this primary going on right now in Minnesota, and hoping that they will get oust AOC and Rashida Tlaib and a lot of these bigger squad members. I want AIPAC to put their money into helping Donald Trump get elected, and to get Kamala Harris, and to make sure that Kamala Harris doesn't get elected. I want AIPAC to help with getting, Jewish people to vote Republican, because that is where their money should be going to, not just to primary up the squad, but to get more Jewish people to vote Republican, because that's what I do with the Jexit organization that I work with. We get Jewish people to literally hashtag Jexit the Democratic Party and never look back. But again, President Trump, his platform is common sense conservative. It's common sense conservative against this radical extremist policy platform that Kamala Harris is pushing. And we're going to talk about that much later in the program. But again, we're going to keep you updated. We're going to keep you posted. Again, the polls closed in Minnesota with Congresswoman Ilhan Omar. The people are hoping that she gets primaried out tonight, that she goes home back to Somalia. Again, she is Somalia first. Coming up is a very good friend of mine, Melissa Robey. She is the founder of We Back Blue. It is the first nationwide organization which supports the police and memorializes the fallen. She will be coming up right after the break.
Born in the coastal plains of South Texas, Smoking Gun Coffee is founded by combat veterans that know exactly what a cup of coffee needs to taste like. Run by father and son, each coffee bean is perfected, roasted at 500 degrees, and cooled with a Gulf Coast breeze. Smoking Gun Coffee hand makes and bags each ounce of coffee for maximum customer satisfaction. With every purchase, 10% goes back to organizations that help veterans and local communities. That's Texas made, one bag at a time. To find out more, go to www.smokingguncoffee.com.
Hey everybody, we're back with Alexandra Levine. This is Alexandra 360. I'm here with my gorgeous and beautiful friend, Melissa Robey. She is the founder of We Back Blue, the first nationwide, the very first in supporting the police and memorializing the fallen. I just want to say again about Smoking Gun Coffee. If you go to smokinggun.com, you go to the coffee club, you click Alexandra 360 and get a medium roast and a dark roast. All of the proceeds go to helping our veterans, our law enforcement, and our first responders and our firefighters. Thank you so much for joining me live. Melissa, how are you doing tonight?
Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Great. So, Melissa, tell Alexandra 360, tell the Patriots Prayer Club a little bit about yourself and your organization.
Sure. So I started We Back Blue back in 2020. We did the first march in the entire country back at the height of the riots. And when we kind of saw what was going on and the officers' reaction to what we were doing, we decided we had to do more. So we've done about over 100 events across the country since then. We were in Napa and Jersey and Florida and Texas and all over the place, kind of working hard to make sure that our law enforcement knew that they were supported and that we cared about them. And I've done so much for them ever since. So I'm really excited to keep the momentum going. There's a lot going on with law enforcement right now that we need to support them. So I'm excited.
So when you hear this concept of defunding the police, and you heard that a lot in 2020, and you're kind of still hearing that now with some of these incumbent congressmen and senators, why would anybody still run on that? That is just crazy to me.
Well, why would they run on it? Because it's popular for one side. One side believes that there's a grave injustice going on. One side believes that they are, persecuted based on the color of their skin. One side believes in race baiting people and making sure that they are afraid of our law enforcement instead of really understanding that they're there for their safety. They protect our neighborhoods. And most Black and brown communities, they love their law enforcement. They don't hate them, but they're being portrayed incorrectly just to benefit one side. So that's why.
Now, you know a little bit about, Tim Walz and the whole George Floyd thing. And, everybody saw his whole state, burned down in front of him. His wife made a very weird statement saying, yes, I was there. And I actually lowered the windows So I could smell the burning of the fire and the burning of the tires, during that whole episode. What say you about those comments?
That's disgusting. And I think that speaks a lot to who this person is and what he's surrounded himself around. I know his daughter was tipping off the BLM folks and letting them know when the National Guard was going to be there and when they were not, and with the help of her father. And so I'm just shocked that we just overlook that and allow that to go on. I'm shocked at all of the things that stack up against Democrats, and the conservatives go, "Oh my God, did you see what they did?" And then it just keeps going. I mean, this man should have never even gotten into a place where he could run for vice president, let alone should he be surrounded by any kind of materials that are sensitive and that could influence the country in any way. It's a travesty, and we're letting it happen.
So, of course, everybody saw, what happened to President Trump, his attempted assassination. I want to know your thoughts as someone who's involved in law enforcement. I know you worked, with guards, with Secret Service. I know you know a lot about that insight. I want to know from your perspective about that whole thing. How could that have been prevented? What is your thoughts on that?
Event. There's a lot of mismanagement, and there's a lot of details that are still coming out. But law enforcement will rarely connect with each other via text message to tell them what's going on. So that alone, like that one thing, is just like so out of place, right? The snipers that they had on the building, I don't believe that they would only have one set of snipers on one building for a former president, or for something of this magnitude, knowing how high profile he is. And so that is it's a huge question for me. The officer that kind of put his head up above the roof and saw the shooter, they say that everything happened within like 1 minute of that, which I completely understand. But everybody's pointing the fingers. Everybody's pointing the fingers at everybody else right now. We're trying to figure out, somewhere in the middle is the truth. I think that when they questioned the director of the Secret Service, she was so coy. She was so smug. She was so, I don't have to answer to you or answer any of your questions because this is just, what I did. It's pretty wild. And yet, it's another instance where conservatives are going, "You see what she said? You see what why are people not being fired? Why do people still have their jobs after that? Are we in upside down land? That doesn't even make sense."
Now, in your opinion, do you think she should have resigned like the moment that happened?
Been fired the moment it happened. But she resigned. They let her go like, "Oh, well, they should have set an example." This is unacceptable behavior. It's unacceptable to not have answers. It's unacceptable to hide answers. It's unacceptable to hide evidence. It's unacceptable to point the finger at a local agency. All of the things that she did, unacceptable. Any other person in a job in America today that had that kind of attitude would be fired in a heartbeat. But for some reason, it's just acceptable, and we accept it. We're accepting that behavior. We're not having rallies and marches and this is unfair, this is unjust, we're having a march because it's unacceptable. Nobody's doing that on our side. Nobody's pushing for results and for things to actually get done. We just point the finger and go, "That's wrong." Anyways, but I will give the left a compliment. The one thing they do right is they follow through. When something they don't like happens, they don't let it go. Even if it's something false, they don't let it go. We let things go all the time. The fact that this president was shot, and it's almost like buried into the news now. Nobody's uncovered anything new. Nobody's been fired. Nothing has happened. And yet we don't care. We're just like, oh, it's wild.
And a lot of people think, well, it's because of the current administration. If we had a new administration, then things would really be investigated and then people would be held more accountable. Do you agree with that point?
If they were investigated, they would be more accountable?
Yeah, like if we had like if we had a new administration, let's say if Trump was in the administration right now, if we had a different Secret Service agent in there, a new head of Secret Service agent under the Trump administration, things would be held more accountable. People would be held more accountable.
To that, I think that there's problems in both administrations. I think there's problems in Republican arenas, and I think there's problems in Democrat arenas. And I don't think getting rid of the top dog is going to solve all the problems that are underneath, right? I mean, it starts at the command staff, just like law enforcement, but there's all these kinks in the chain underneath that nobody wants to address. So I don't know the answer to that. I mean, I think he would hire people that he trusts more, but, you know, hopefully they'll do a good job. But again, it just depends.
So where do you see, like, with law enforcement, with your organization, where do you see going forward where law enforcement can thrive, where the Second Amendment can thrive a little bit more, you know, going forward with you and your organization?
In terms of the Second Amendment?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
I don't feel one way or the other about it. I support our law enforcement. I support the tools that they need to do the job. I don't support the fact that they're taking some of their firearms away from them and replacing them with, you know, basically like, you know, stun guns and different things. And, oh, we can do it this way. We can do it less harmful. There'll be less use of force. You're making our guys like go soft. You're not keeping them, you know, with the best tactical training and the best tactical tools. And some agencies are. But a lot of them are being replaced by the chiefs are being replaced by Democrats. And I want you to hear this. The chiefs are being replaced with Democrat chiefs who are assigned by up here. And they make all the rules and they do all the budgeting and they make all. So if this chief doesn't do what these people say, then these people suffer. Right? Mm-hmm. And that's, look at it, look it up. And I actually would love to do a study about how many chiefs have been replaced between 2020 and now with either, you know, DEI replacements or people that haven't, you know, aren't from the same area. It's wild. They are defunding our police in more ways than we ever have paid attention to. And people are just kind of oblivious to it. And we're not going to be, we will not like understand until it's gone. We will not be able to address it. Once you wipe out all the cops that have been there for 20 to 25 years, that have done this job, that know this job, that know how to do things, nobody can train the new people coming in with things you can't learn in a classroom. Like, nobody can do that. But we're not gonna know until it's too late, until you've hired all the wrong people, until they start collapsing, or until they start being the militia of the people up here. And that's, from a political standpoint, they go and they do everything that they want them to do.
So I agree with you. I think that's a big issue with the DEI hires. And I think that was the biggest issue in Butler, Pennsylvania too. You see, you know, these, and we see these women, and there are women that are, and you know this, that are great law enforcement officers, great Secret Service. There's nothing wrong with hiring a woman. It's fabulous. But you saw this one woman, she was 5'4". She didn't even know how to put the gun in the holster. She didn't even know how to take the gun out of the holster. Then we find out she wasn't even a Secret Service agent. She was like a drug enforcement agent. Like, she shouldn't even have been there. And of course they want to hire more women of color, which is fine. That's perfectly fine. But again, it's about placing the right person in the right division. You know, making the right person in the perfect, you know, GI or G2 or G7 or whatever. You know, how do we do that properly without, I guess, quote, offending someone? You know, how do we fix that system, Melissa?
Not in control is what I'm telling you. There's something out called 30 by 2030. They want email by the year 2030. That's what they want. That they're going to stop at nothing until they get it. And I will be hard pressed to find any of my female officers that have 20 years or 10 years on the job that have had to try out in the academy with a man and do everything that he's done. And now we're lowering the standards. We in Virginia, we lowered the wall, the barrier wall that women have to climb over in basic training by, I don't know what the exact amount. I think it's a foot. I don't know, because they couldn't get over it. So this is the tip of the iceberg of how we're going to lower our standards, and we're in a lot of trouble. And the people who are at the helm of this ship are Democrats.
So I want to shift a little bit with you about, women or excuse me, I should say man and guy sports, because that's a big topic, and you're a mother as well. And what is your, thoughts on that? We saw that in the Olympics too. There was a woman boxer competing, and there was, I think, a girl, or no, there was a guy that had like a weird chromosome, and she was fighting against a girl, and unfortunately the girl got hit so hard, like harder than ever, against this guy, and then the guy ended up winning like the whole Olympics and the whole gold. What say you about that? And then we have the Leah Thompson situation against Riley Gaines and that whole thing. What say you about that?
Not a fan of it. I think that from my perspective, I've always thought that when they go into the Olympics, they have to qualify to get there. That means qualify. They test your blood, they test your testosterone, they test your skill level, they test all of that. How that person got through with testosterone with the genes of a man is beyond me. I don't know all of the facts of it, but I can tell you that this is the new normal. This is what they want. I mean, you watch the opening ceremony, right? This is what they want, this unfair balance between people, and they want to, I don't know, there's just something to prove here on both on this one side, with all the different initiatives they're doing, whether that's DEI, whether that's LGBT, whether that's men and women's sports, whether that's, I mean, there's just something that they just got something to prove, man. And it's like, it's just enough already. We don't care. I don't care. I don't care until, I doubt they're going to put women in men's sports, but until they do that, I mean, we've got football. My sons are in football. I don't think they're going to put girls out there, but imagine what that's like. You're not going to hit a woman the way you'd hit a boy. There's no way. And I think that applies to law enforcement. There was a case in Manhattan recently where the woman was hit by, I want to say a homeless guy, but I'm not sure. And the officer had to make sure the woman was okay before he went to the perpetrator. And it's like, no, no, that's the moment they can take your life. So this applies across the board. This isn't just women's sports. This is America. This is how a lot of things are happening in our country. And it's so bad. And I got to tell you, I want to be hopeful, right? I want to be hopeful. But there's so many of them, and there's just, conservatives are afraid to stand up. Conservatives are not doing a good job. They are not doing a good job of banding together. They're infighting. They are excluding each other. They are one-upping each other. I'm watching this firsthand. I've been on 4 campaigns in the last 2 years of my life. I've seen it happen. I watch it. And the reason the Democrats get ahead is because we fight with each other. We're too busy fighting with each other about who gets what instead of what the mission is. And that's why they kick our ass, because they're not fighting with each other. They're going for the mission.
And I just want to say for the record that, people are like, oh, Joe Biden, I didn't know he had dementia. I didn't know. They knew. This had been plotted and planned for years. The minute they put Biden in, and this whole thing with Kamala, this was all plotted and planned. Obama has been working behind the scenes for years. And for people to think, oh my God, no, the media was in on it. Hollywood's in on it. They're all in on it.
So
and I'm sorry, say it again.
Biden.
I'm sorry, say it again. I couldn't hear you.
Biden.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like, where is he? Yeah. Where is he? Hello.
Haven't seen him. Haven't heard a word from him. Or I know Jill was at the Olympics, which makes absolutely no sense, but okay. Where is this man? You're our leader. You're the leader.
Supposedly. Yeah.
You're the nation and you're gone. You're MIA, dude. What?
Yeah. And our foreign leaders are laughing, and they know this. They know this.
Well, Trump said it the best last night. He said, I have relationships with all these people. I have these problems when I was president, but also I was cognizant, and I knew, my name. I knew what I was doing. So it's said it the best, and he does. I mean, we've got a tough road, And I know everybody wants to win this election. I know everybody wants to see Trump back in the White House, but that's literally going to take so much grit from conservatives that I don't know if they've got it in them. They're afraid. And listen, January 6th happened. A lot of people got prosecuted wrongly. You know that. I know that. I know somebody who clearly didn't do anything and got, house arrest and went to jail and all that stuff. I mean, we know what happened. And I would venture to say that was the last time the conservatives have had like a big gathering like that, right? And so God bless them for showing up for Trump rallies. But let me ask you, what do you do when you go home? You go to the rally, you hear the president, you feel inspired. And then what do you do when you go home? Are you helping register people to vote? Are you online talking to people about who they're going to vote for and what the talking points are? Are you joining groups? Are you, going to the local grocery store with a clipboard? Are you registered to vote? Who are you voting for? I mean, we've got to really grab a hold of our cojones and have some grit here, because they have it. They've got grit. They're doing Megan Thee Stallion. Are you serious with me? Like, that rapper coming up there on stage, booty clapping in front of everybody, and we're not going to win against that. Ooh, not good.
I agree with you. And we can't be complicit, and we can't act like we're 20 points ahead. We have to act like we're 50 points behind. And I agree with you. Melissa, we have just a couple more minutes. How can we get involved with you, and what can we do to make you happy?
Oh, well, it's a loaded question. No, I'm kidding. So We Back Blue, as I said, has been around for about 4 years. And right now, we're really helping legislatively. We're helping people understand what's happening to these nationwide. So we have state groups for people to join, for you to kind of get some more information. You can donate to our cause. You can just contact me and get involved. I mean, I'm all over the country. I was just at Baltimore Police Department this past weekend. I don't know if you know that they're down 500 officers right now, but they are. The morale is down at Baltimore PD. I'd love to come to Baltimore and do another event for our law enforcement, but we need support for that. So we're all over the place doing a million things. You can go to our website at webackblue.com. You can sign up to be a volunteer. You can sign up for your state group. You can donate, and you can get in touch with me. And I'd love to help everybody be part of that.
Awesome. Thank you so much for coming on. I love you. This network loves you. And please, everybody, go to webackblue.com, make a donation, reach out to Melissa Robey on her Facebook. And we have to continue the cause, because it's a very important cause. And she is the first. She's the very first person that started this cause. And don't ever forget it, everybody.
Amen to that. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. We'll be right back after our sponsor.
Do you have old home videotapes that you're no longer able to watch? Need them transferred to DVD, Blu-ray, or your smart device? Baltimore Digital offers professional-grade VHS, mini DV, and high 8 digitizing services. We can also convert Super 8mm film too. Baltimore Digital also provides photo restoration services. Visit archive.baltimoredigital.net. Mention code Alexandra for a 10% introductory discount.
So we just had a wonderful guest. That was my really good friend, Melissa Robey. She is the founder of We Back Blue. It's the first nationwide organization that supports the police, memorializes the fallen. Please go to webackblue.com, make a donation today. And she does events nationwide. We will be putting together an event in Baltimore County. Bet your dollar on that. I did a lot of events with her in Baltimore County with my friend, elected official Tim Fazenbaker, who's also been on our program. He and I have done a lot of events with her, and we're going to be doing that again. But we really need to help our law enforcement, and we really need to push this legislation to get more help for our law enforcement. So thanks so much. Again, we are live. I'm Alexandra Levine with Alexandra 360, and we will be getting updates on the Congresswoman Ilhan Omar's primary. Patrick, do we have any updates on that primary? It's about 9:35. Let's see if we have. Patrick said they still haven't counted yet. Okay, so that it's going to be a long night. I don't want to say I pray, for her, pray for another Democrat, but any other Democrat is better than her. Of course, we want the Republican in there in the end, but we got to get these anti-Semites out of office because, as we know, she's one of the lead squad members. She's horrible. Patrick, please put up the picture of her and Tim Walz. As you know, Tim Walz was picked by Kamala Harris. Kamala Harris is running for president. He is the VP pick of Minnesota. He loves her. He supports her. He endorses her. He was endorsed by Bernie Sanders, who's a progressive. He was endorsed by AOC, and he is anti-Israel. I don't care what anybody says. He is anti-Israel. She's extremely anti-Israel. She is Somalia first. She has said very anti-Israel and anti-Semitic comments since she has been a congresswoman, even before she was a congresswoman. She does not like AIPAC at all. She says that Jewish people are all about the Benjamin's baby. She actually married her brother. She's disgusting. And she doesn't care and stand for our biggest ally, Israel. And I'm sorry, when you are an elected official in the halls of Congress, you must stand and support your biggest ally, Israel. And she doesn't. Neither does Rashida Tlaib, neither does AOC, neither does Bernie Sanders, neither does Chuck Schumer, neither does a lot of these Democrats in Congress. And there's a lot of what I call anti-Jew Jews in the House of Representatives and in the Senate. I call them hashtag not my real Jews, hashtag not my pure Jews, hashtag never my Jews, because there is no way that you can call yourself a Jewish person and stand by CARE and stand by Hezbollah and stand by Hamas. There's just no way. And it's people like the Squad and Jamie Raskin of Maryland and Bernie Sanders and Debbie Wasserman Schultz and Chuck Schumer and Jerry Nadler and all these, liberal, there's liberal Jewish congressmen and these Squad members. They say, they don't support Israel at all. They say that, the Jewish congressmen, they say that they do, but they don't. They really don't. And AIPAC, again, has worked tirelessly to give money to combat two Squad members, Jamal Bowman and Cori Bush. They primaried them out. Now, unfortunately, sources have said that they did not dedicate their sources to primarying out, or I should say that they haven't dedicated their sources enough to try to primary out Ilhan Omar. I hope that's not true. I hope that they did put some sources in because they do have the money to get Ilhan Omar out of this, out of Congress. They do have the sources to get rid of AOC. My good friend Tina Forte is running against her in New York. They do have the sources to get rid of Rashida Tlaib. They do have the sources to get rid of Bernie Sanders. They do have the sources to get rid of Jerry Nadler. They do have the sources to get rid of Debbie Wasserman Schultz. My friend Brian Lieb is running against her in Florida. They do have the sources to get rid of all of these, liberal Democrats, and especially liberal Jewish Democrats that really don't have our country's best interests at heart. And, again, I work with an organization, Jexit Inc. It's Jews Jexiting the Democratic Party. And I know we're a small minority. We're a very small minority. But, President Trump, he said to the African-American community, what the hell do you have to lose? I say to the Jewish community, what the hell do you have to lose? How can you stand with Democrats after what has gone on in Israel on October 7th, after what's going on in Israel today? Israel is fighting against Hezbollah, a terrorist organization. We have pockets of CARE all over the nation. We are fighting terrorists right here in America. We have illegal Syrian, illegal Afghan refugees all over our nation. And they're voting in our elections as well. We can't have this anymore. We can't have this. Jewish people must stand your ground. We have had pro-Hamas rallies at universities and colleges. I've talked to liberal college students at Harvard University, at Columbia University, at NYU, at MIT. They've hashtag had enough. We had Prime Minister Bibi Netanyahu, who came to the halls of Congress for the 4th time. It was history, and he spoke to a bipartisan body and gave a bipartisan, beautiful speech. And he is disgusted at what's going on. And he changed a lot of minds that day. And I listened to it objectively, not as a Republican, but as a Jew and as an American. And I watched as American flags were taken down and burned to the ground and a Palestinian flag was put up at Union Station, and I was disgusted. As a Jewish person, you cannot stand and watch these Democrats take over our nation and watch these Democrats allow these pro-Hamas people to put Palestinian flags up and desecrate and burn American flags. But this is what will happen under a Kamala Harris-Walz administration. Jewish people, I will pound the message till November 5th to vote for Donald J. Trump. You know he was good to Israel. You know he will continue to be good to Israel. You know he was good to Jewish Americans. He was good to Christian Americans. He was good to people of all races, religions, and creeds. We must do the right thing here. We must vote the right way. Now, I will be going down to Florida next Tuesday for the August 20th primary. I will be talking to a lot of Jewish people that have hashtag left the Democratic Party, and they will be voting in the Florida primary. It is a closed primary. There are a lot of Jewish Republicans now in Florida because of the work that of the organization hashtag Jexit has done. And they're very happy to be voting in the Florida primary, Jewish Republicans, for my Congressman Greg Steube, Congressman Vern Buchanan, and others. They'll be voting for Brian Lieb, and others, and state representatives, because I've done the work. The organization, hashtag Jexit Inc. has done the work and have switched a lot of Jewish Democrats to Jewish Republicans, and we'll be doing, and they will be voting in that Republican primary. And in the general, the Jewish Democrats in Broward County, Miami-Dade, and Palm Beach, because of the work of Jexit Inc. and other Jewish organizations, they will be voting for Donald J. Trump in November in Miami-Dade and Palm Beach County, and Broward County, Palm Beach County, and Broward County. Sorry, I had a brain fart. Miami-Dade and Palm Beach, the majority, those liberal Jewish areas. All those Jewish Democrats, all those Jewish independents are going to be voting for Donald J. Trump in November of 2024 because of the work that Jexit Inc. has done and many other Jewish organizations, because they see the light. They hashtag have seen the light. We've also worked with Christian Democrats to leave the Democratic Party. They'll be voting in that Republican primary August 20th in Florida next week. And they will be voting for Donald J. Trump in November of 2024 in Florida and nationwide, because they know it's the right thing to do. Now, there was a poll that found that the vice president was leading President Trump by 4 points in Michigan, Pennsylvania, and Wisconsin. It showed 50 for Harris and 46 for Trump. And it said it was surveyed 619 Michigan voters from August 5 to 8,800, 5 to 8, 693 Pennsylvania voters from August 6 to August 9th, and 669 Wisconsin voters from August 6th to 9th. Now, I have to implore you about these polls. And a lot of people I talk to are very nervous about these polls. When Biden dropped out, a lot of Biden's voters, they switched to Kamala Harris, and they said that it upped her poll numbers. A lot of these polls are very deceiving. A lot of the people don't know who these people are being asked. A lot of these people are, quote, progressive voters. They're very liberal voters, or some of them are people that can't even vote, like illegals. A lot of these polls are very deceiving. I would not trust these polls at this time, to be honest with you. The ones that are pretty accurate I see are the Rasmussen polls are very accurate. The Trafalgar polls are very accurate. But a lot of these, the local polls, the local pollsters, you have to be very skeptical of them, because they just ask the same type of voters in the same local areas, like the same very Democratic areas, or the same very, very Republican areas, or the same very rhino-y areas. So they're going to give you that margin of error. But again, when you go to the Rust Belts, when you go to Michigan, when you go to Pennsylvania, when you go to Wisconsin, those are the areas right now that are suffering under the Biden administration. Those are the coal miners. Those are the oil welders. It's the backbone of our country. Those are the small business owners that are suffering right now, that are dying. The gas prices are going up. Toilet paper now is $7 to $10. People are looking at their wallets. The stock market's crashing. The NASDAQ went down 1,000 points in one day. The immigration is just insane. Remember, they called Kamala Harris the border czar? We have all these illegal immigrants just pouring into our country. People are going to be going into that ballot box, and they're going to really be looking at themselves and God, and they're going to say, what is important right now? I mean, people that had money now have to think, what's more important right now? People have had to actually not buy as much food as they used to. People are now going to multiple different grocery stores for deals. I know people that used to go to Giant that have to go to Food Lion. I know people that are scrimping for coupons. People are scrimping for sales. People are scrimping to buy a $30 microphone or a $10 microphone. I mean, it's really tough. And these are people that used to have a lot of money. They're not making as much, or they're making just a little bit to get by. It's really scary out there. We went from getting $1.28 per gallon with gas. Now gas is $4 per gallon in some places, unleaded. Look at what Kamala Harris has done over the last 3 years. She's done absolutely nothing. Her policies are radical. What she wants to push is radical. What Tim Walz wants to push is radical. And people say, well, you're just preaching to the choir, just talking to your conservative voters, your conservative audience. No, I have Democrats that actually watch my show. I have independents that watch my show. I'm talking to my Jewish constituents now, my Jewish friends, my African-American friends, my Hispanic friends. I'm talking to everybody now. We have silent majority voters. We have silent voters. I talk to everybody. I talk to the trans community. I talk to the gay community. I talk to everybody. And again, principle over party. Just because a person has an R or a D at the end of their name doesn't mean you have to vote for them. Like I say to the Jewish community, just because Kamala Harris has a D at the end of her name does not mean you have to vote for her. Enough is enough. I talk about this all the time in Maryland too. Just because a person has an R at the end of their name doesn't mean you have to vote for them either. If they do not represent you. I was just at a beautiful event. Charm City Idol. Elected official Tim Fazenmaker was the MC. He represents Dundalk, Essex, Edgemere. Democrats, Republicans, Independents. He goes there because those are his constituents. Doesn't care if they're Republican, Democrat, Independent. It was so much fun. He loved being there. That's his element. It was great. It was a community gathering. It was awesome. And they call him. They email him. They love him. I loved being a judge. I loved being there. The guy who runs it, Johnny Lang, is a Democrat, but he votes Republican. He loves Tim. He votes with him because he represents his principles. Tim's the HOA president in his community. He's got Republicans, Democrats, Independents. They all vote for him. They support him. They donate to him because he resonates with them. That's what it's all about. That's what it's all about. And that's what it should be about for you, the voter. Donald J. Trump put things into a different light and perspective for me. I was not involved in politics until he came down that escalator at Trump Tower in 2015. I was just an opera singer. That's it. Just a Jewish millennial opera singer. But I saw that my profession was tanking. A lot of my friends couldn't afford things. Opera houses were closing down nationwide and worldwide. My friends were suffering. And I heard this man, and he said a lot of great things. And I believed everything that he said. And I knew that once he announced he was running, I had a gut feeling. And I looked up at God and said that we were going to be saved. And I knew in my heart that he was going to win. And I knew in my heart that he was going to do everything that he said he was going to do. And I knew when he got elected that he was going to follow through, which he did. And I know when he gets elected again, he's going to follow through again. And I knew he got elected in 2020. We all know he did. Secret's out, everybody. Because we needed that change agent. We needed that businessman. And you know what people have said, even rhinos have said? That if he would have ran in 2012 against Obama, he would have beat him. He would have beat him. So think of Kamala Harris as Barack Hussein Obama, because she really is, because she's getting all of her stuff from Barack Obama. There was just reports out recently that Barack Obama is calling the shots on her campaign. So if Trump would have ran in 2012 against Obama, would have won. Then Trump running against Kamala now, he's going to win. He's going to win. It may be a small margin, but he's going to win. And guess what, folks? We were all blindsided by Barack Obama when he first ran. After the last 2 years of Bush, when the economy was tanking. Most people, they do vote with their wallets. And when they see the economy tanking like it's tanking now, they vote for the next in line. And people know that the economy was better under Donald Trump. So the stock market crashing, 401ks going down is propelling more people to vote for Trump. That's what propelled people to vote for Barack Obama. But when they voted for him, guess what? The GDP didn't grow. It stayed at 2%. The GDP increased 2 to 3 percentage points under Donald J. Trump in such a short period of time, which was amazing, impeccable, unheard of. So think with your wallets when you go into that ballot box on November 5th. Think of the cost of gas. Think of wanting to look to go places again, to look good again. Everyone looked better. Everyone had things in their cabinets. Everyone was able to go on vacation. Everyone smiled more. Everybody was happier. We didn't have all this crap that we have. We didn't go into wars. People could afford the finer things in life. People didn't have migraine headaches. People weren't sick as dogs. People weren't going to the doctor all the time under Donald Trump. I have so many friends that are so stressed out. Migraine headaches for 2 to 3 weeks. Nausea. It's not good. Less people are getting married now. Less people are having children. It's not good. We have to remember what things were like under Donald Trump. We have to erase all this propaganda out of our heads, because that's all it is. It's propaganda. Just erase it out of your memories. These false polls, these photoshopped artificial intelligence photos that Kamala Harris is putting out about her rallies. Now she's got 69,000 people at her rallies. It's BS. She's actually paying people to come to her rallies. It's false. It's not true. And if you see something, say something. The fact that these squad members, they've been in Congress for way too long. They shouldn't have even gotten as far as they've gotten. We shouldn't be waiting so long to primary them out. They shouldn't have even gotten in to begin with. AIPAC should have been getting them out immediately. Don't get out Cori Bush and Jamal Bowman. Just because they're the underlings, you get out the top first. You get out the queen bees first, and then you get out the underlings. You actually get them all out right away, just at the get-go. But I know why they got out Jamal Bowman and Cori Bush, because they said, well, they're the ones that have been there the least, so let's get out the least ones first. But the thing is that AOC and Rashid Tlaib and Ilhan Omar have done so much damage. And again, Congress isn't term limited. So the more they're in there, the more damage they're going to do. Because if, God forbid, Donald J. Trump doesn't get in and they stay in, they do more damage. So let's show the count right away. They still haven't counted anything they still haven't counted anything. My producer's telling me, but let's show the count and let's see who's running anyway up in Minnesota. So again, Congresswoman Ilhan Omar, she's running in that primary. And I think that Don Samuels is running against her. But let's just show some statistics right now. Patrick, can we show some statistics? What's going on? Do we have any of that right now? But again, AIPAC has put up money to primary out some of the squad members. AIPAC they call themselves a nonpartisan organization, although they have helped left-leaning Democrats over the years. They have primaried out some of the squad members. I do encourage AIPAC to help out some Republican Jewish candidates, like my friend Brian Leib down in Florida. He could use some money. I encourage AIPAC to please help Donald J. Trump get in. I think your money should go there. That would be the wisest thing to do. You have the money, use it. You're smart people, use your money wisely. That would be the best thing to do, in my opinion. But let's get these people out. Why wait till they've been there for years and years? Get them out now. Please, I encourage everybody to donate to Tina Forte. She's running against Congresswoman AOC out in New York. Tina Forte she's a big supporter of Israel. She's a firehouse. She ran against AOC a couple years ago. She's great. She speaks her mind. She's a powerhouse. I love her. She's great. Again, we had a phenomenal guest. Just to reiterate, my friend Melissa Robey. She is the founder of We Back Blue, the first nationwide organization that supports the police and memorializes the fallen. Go to webackblue.com. Please make a donation today that helps our law enforcement. And she's been doing events all over the nation. She's great. And we're going to get those stats for you when we can in regards to Congresswoman Ilhan Omar's primary. And again, the Minnesota primary is an open primary, so Republicans can actually vote against her. It is an open primary. It's not a closed primary. Again, next week, I will be in Florida for the primary there. That is the August 20th primary on Tuesday. I will be live streaming the entire primary. Again, there will be a lot of Jewish Republicans that will be voting in that primary. And please, I encourage people to vote for my incumbent Congressman Greg Steube, also Congressman Vern Buchanan down there, and also President Donald J. Trump, but he'll win, of course. And we have also have some other great incumbent state representatives. We have some new county commissioners down there, but I will keep you updated. I'll be volunteering down there, but I'll also be working the polls down there and helping down in Sarasota County down there. Oh, Patrick said for some reason it's not letting him post the image. Well, after the broadcasting, we'll show you some live updates of that. But again, I don't want to say, pray for any of these Democrats, but we want to get rid of AOC. They're all the same. I said AOC, Rashida Tlaib. No, we want to get rid of Ilhan Omar as much as possible. Again, she's a menace. She's Somalia first. She will always be Somalia first. And again, the more we get these squad leaders out, we have to have people that will put the money, the backbone, and we'll have the cojones to call these people out and do the work. Like Melissa Robey said, people need to do the work. We need to do the work. And we need to do everything we can to get President Donald J. Trump in the White House. Because we all know in the back of our mind that he needs to be in the White House, because we can't have what what we have right now continuing in this country, or we won't have a country. Well, this has been a great show tonight, a very jam-packed hour. Oh, Patrick, can we get the image off? Oh, there we go. Let me see if I can enlarge it. I was just about to end the show, but no. Oh, Patrick, can we enlarge that? Oh, I can enlarge it. Okay. Oh, Ilhan Omar. Okay, so nothing's up yet. Okay. So she's going up against Nate Schuler, Abena McKenzie, and Don Samuels. So Don Samuels is the guy that we have to look for because they were neck and neck last time. So we'll keep you posted on that after this show. We'll keep you updated. We'll keep you updated on the polling, and also we'll put up some links after the show so you can donate to We Back Blue. Please go to the Patriots Prayer. Please like and subscribe. So go to Patriots Prayer on Rumble. Please follow us on the Patriots Prayer on X. Oh my God, I'm slurring my words already. Please go to follow me on X at Alexandra LEVI 20. Please go to me on Facebook at Alexandra Levine. Please go to my Rumble at Alexandra Levine, but please just follow at the Patriots Prayer on Rumble. You can follow us at the Patriots Prayer on YouTube. And again, the reason you listen and the reason you watch is you are no idiot.